Yes guys, welcome back to the channel. So a little bit of a different video today. I want to talk about my story. I've been uploading a lot of vlogs recently. Obviously you've seen we were traveling in Europe. We're obviously back in Dubai now. We'll get onto that in a second, but I get a lot of questions, around work, coaching, personal training. How did you get to where you are? So I thought I'd make a full video today that's going to cover my move to Dubai, my progression from personal training in the UK, all the way to online coach with a team of coaches working for me now. And also just my training and my fitness, because as you know, I absolutely love that side of things too. But back in Dubai, we've been here for a couple of weeks now. We were in Europe for 10 weeks, so a bit of time in the UK, then Marbella, and then Portugal. Just with everything happened with the war, decided to go there. But we come back here 2 weeks ago, moved into a new apartment. I've shown you a little bit on the channel. I'm going to do a full video, like a full tour of the apartment, maybe with Mark next week, who's behind the camera now. With this video, we're going to go to a few different places in the new area that we've moved to, the Creek, and I'm going to talk everything personal training and get into where I am. So if you have a look around, this area is the Creek. It's amazing. I feel like I've lived everywhere in Dubai. I've lived near the marina on Emaar beachfront. I've lived in JVC, I've lived in downtown, but I think this is my favorite place that I've ever lived. And obviously living with Liv too. Got a nice 2-bed, 2 balconies, an office, but yeah. It's not about the apartment today, so we're going to move downstairs. So obviously live in Dubai now, but I'm from the UK. I'm actually from Newcastle, northeast of England. Everyone that I tell that to, they say, oh, you don't have the accent. It's because I went to a posh school and neither of my parents do. But yeah, so Royal Grammar School, Newcastle. Started playing rugby when I was 6 years old and literally kept that up until the age of 18, and I actually started the gym pretty early on as well, age I think 14, because my dad was getting married, so he built us a little bit of a home gym and I really got into it. And then I started watching all the kind of like bodybuilding YouTubers, people like Steve Cook, Matt Ogus, Guzman was a little bit later on, so I really got into that side of things and just educated myself a lot around training and bodybuilding. And that I loved what bodybuilding did for my physique, because I was quite skinny. It improved my confidence. I built muscle and built strength and built power, which really, really helped me with my rugby too. And then I was so consistent with it. Obviously, I didn't really know what I was doing too much, but I kept it up and I made a lot of progress from a young age. So I kept the strength and bodybuilding side of training up all throughout school. And then I actually went to Edinburgh University to study business management, not because I had a certain type of business in mind that I knew I wanted to start. I just always seen my dad work for himself, have his own businesses, and I knew that I wanted to do the same. I couldn't really imagine anything different. So I went to Edinburgh, stopped playing rugby because I was quite injury prone, and to be honest, I really just wanted to focus on the physique and the strength training side of things. So kept it up all through uni. Actually ended up running club nights in 3rd and 4th year. So I was going out loads, but I've always stayed super consistent with my training. Even if I was hungover, even if I was studying for my exams, going on trips away and things like that, the training has always been the constant. The diet was fine, to be honest. It's not as good as it is now. I used to really just follow the kind of macro and calorie approach, whereas now I follow a much cleaner kind of whole foods based diet, but consistency was there, and that was the most important thing. So I graduated uni with a 2-1 in business. Throughout the uni as well, I'd actually picked up a little bit of like marketing freelance work, because when I was running the club nights, I was doing all the social media, so I became quite good at Facebook groups, posting, scheduling, all that sort of stuff. So I actually kind of like freelance myself out to a few companies in Edinburgh and Newcastle, actually did the social media for a gym. So that was kind of, I guess, alongside the clubs, that was my first kind of like entrepreneurial venture that I did. And I was earning good money. I think back then, between the clubs and the freelancing that I was doing, I was earning over £2,000 a month, which was a lot for someone that was still studying full time and doing all that sort of stuff. So I thought, let's go into that after uni. Let's try and turn that into a proper business. So created, I guess, like a marketing agency after uni, which, long story short, didn't really work out, and left me with kind of like no path, no vision, no idea what I really wanted to do. And I kind of saw it as a bit of a failure, to be honest. My first business had failed, but to be honest, it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because that's why I got into that's how I got into personal training, which we'll get onto in a second. So after that business failure, that was actually just before COVID, or I think it actually might have been just when COVID was starting. So I was still living in Edinburgh at that point. So I decided to move back to Newcastle, which is where my mum lived, because we didn't really know what COVID was going to be. Obviously, it ended up being much of a nothingness, but it could have been a lot worse. So I moved back, and I thought literally that the only thing that I could possibly imagine myself doing was studying for my personal training qualification and becoming a personal trainer, because I had actually, as I mentioned before, ran the social media for a gym in Newcastle for coming up to I think a year at that point, and I had a very good relationship with the guy who owned it, who was a fantastic coach and probably my first mentor. And he always kind of like jokingly said to me, if you ever want to become a coach, I'll give you a job here. So I did the online course to become the personal trainer. I didn't even know what online coaching was at that point. I think I spent £1,100 on this course, and I had after that I had £300 left in my account. Did that, and I started building up my Instagram. So I'd had a bit of a fitness Instagram throughout uni as just like a little bit of a joke. And back then you could build accounts super quick. So with me only posting like once every 2 weeks, I think I got the account up to like 4,000 followers really easily. And I used to just post topless photos, some training every now and again. But then obviously when I was just about to become a personal trainer, I thought, this is going to be a really good way to get clients. So throughout COVID, when people weren't really doing anything, I wasn't doing much, I was still doing a little bit of marketing work. I just started posting on that account, and by the time the gyms opened, I think 4 months later, I had 12 personal training clients like in the local area in Newcastle, like ready to go. And then I started making money. I was training my own clients in this gym and paying the gym rent, and I was also training some of their clients as well. And I remember I always said to my mum, as soon as I earn £2,000, I'm gone, I'm getting my own place. And then I did that within like 6 weeks. Then I got my apartment in Newcastle. And then basically for the next, probably like year and a half, 2 years, I just personal trained. I went all in on it. I did like 35 hours in the gym each week with clients, picked up running as well alongside that, and built my online coaching business as well. I think I always had about 5 to 10 online clients alongside personal training. So it definitely wasn't the main focus. Personal training was very much still the job that was helping me make good money and like me developing my skills as a coach. And I'd say from a training standpoint, I kept up the bodybuilding, but I started to bring in running because everyone had started running in lockdown. I really liked balancing the running alongside the lifting. And I think the reason that I really liked it was because I had played rugby from such a young age, and then when I went to uni, I just dropped off the cardio completely. So it kind of allowed me to kind of get my sporting kind of fix again and feel athletic again. And ever since then, bit of a tangent, but talking about training, I've always kept up running minimum 2 times a week, all the way up to 4 times a week for the last 6 years. And that's why I'm in a position now where I'm going for a sub 250 marathon. But stayed in Newcastle, just worked my arse off to the point where I saved up loads of money, and then thought about moving to Dubai. Because for me, like, Newcastle was never where I wanted to stay. I only moved back there because of what happened with COVID. It wasn't really my choice. And I thought, the next step for me to earn more money, to develop my career, was to go to a country in a city where I could charge more and grow that way. And for me, for some reason, I had London in my head and had Dubai in my head. I never really considered the US. I think now, having worked with loads of guys in the US, that might have been something that I would have considered. But I settled on Dubai because of the weather. Obviously, a huge attraction for Dubai is the tax-free nature, so you don't pay any income tax. But back then, I wasn't earning enough money to even benefit from that. So the reason that I moved was literally to earn more and to live in a better environment. As you can see here, the weather's amazing, even though it's summer now. And then, yeah, we'll get on to the next bit in a second. So we got to Dubai in September 2022. So that'll be almost 4 years. It's 2nd of July 2026 now. So I knew I was going to move, and I saved up a load of money for like 6 to 8 months because I knew it was going to be expensive. I knew that I was going to need to get a car, get an apartment, all that sort of stuff. So I came over in a really good position because I basically just worked my arse off for the 2 years prior. Personal training, online coaching business had picked up as well, literally just purely off inquiries from Instagram. So I was saving so much money because I wasn't really doing anything in Newcastle. And that's, I think, 2 weeks before I moved here, I signed up with my first business mentor, and that's when my kind of investing in myself period started. And I think if I can give you one bit of advice, and one thing that I've learned from being over here in Dubai around people that are absolutely killing it, they all invest in themselves, whether that's mentors, whether it's coaches, whether it's a combination of both. So I invested in my first mentor 2 weeks before I moved here. I spent like £11,000, which was a massive amount of money for me at the time, still is now. And that got me from solopreneur, a few clients, no idea how to grow my business from that point, how to streamline, systemize, and attract new clients, to building a proper coaching team. So within 3 months, I think I'd taken my client numbers from 25 to 60, and I hired my first coach to work with me and I started building an actual brand, not just Joe and his coaching clients. And then from there, I doubled down and just worked super hard. I was fully online. I did no personal training in Dubai, and I've never done personal training in Dubai. And the reason that I came over was because of that. But the online side of things started growing so fast that I had to just focus on that, because I think if I'd personal trained, it would have obviously taken up a lot of my time, and it would have been a distraction. So that's when I started to build a team. I hired an assistant. I hired my first performance coach to help me coach clients that we were bringing into the business. And then it just grew from there. But I think everyone looks at Dubai and they look at all these coaches, laptop lifestyle, all that sort of stuff. It's not like that. I spent my first year I lived in a hotel for like 9 months, just in my hotel room working, just trying to make it work. You know, I'd come over with a lot of savings, but I wasn't earning enough to cover my monthly costs back then. But then it grew quickly, and I kept reinvesting, working with some really good coaches as well to build my knowledge. And then we grew the team to 2 coaches within a year, and then now we have 4 coaches including myself, so 3 coaches that work for me, and I've got 2 assistants too. And that's kind of been the journey in Dubai. And the first year I didn't isolate myself, but I definitely didn't socialize as much as I do now, because I was just so concerned with trying to make it work, trying to make sure that I can stay, because you see a lot of people move here. It is expensive, I'm not going to lie to you. You know, our rent each month is over £3,000 a month. There's lots of other bills that come up even though you don't pay tax, and you see a lot of people move here and they can't make it work because they get too sucked into the party side of things. They start overspending, they don't save any money, and then they have to go back to the UK a year later. And that was my main fear, that was my main thing, was I'm not gonna let that happen. But that was work and business in Dubai. So training, kept up the hybrid training. I think the hybrid training has become super popular in the last, I would say 2.5 years, but I've been running for 6 years now, and I was genuinely one of the first coaches in Dubai to do the whole strength training, bodybuilding and running thing, and that's always been my content, and me and Mark have filmed that for the last 3.5 years. But I kept the running up. I put on a little bit of weight when I moved to Dubai, just because I was eating a lot, I wasn't tracking as well as I could have been, and then I signed up with one of my friends who's a coach as well, JJ, and we did a photo shoot, and I got pretty lean whilst doing the whole running thing and got a lot of attention online. And that's when we chose to rebrand from, I think it was called like JG Fitness and Health, to Athletic Aesthetic off the back of that photo shoot. And then I kind of like became known for the hybrid coach. And we've kind of like not transitioned back towards more physique focused, but I'm not a running coach. I'm someone who helps men get in amazing shape with strength training, building muscle, dropping body fat. And if they want to run whilst they do that, then that's great. We can show them how to do it. But the brand is called Athletic Aesthetic now. And I've really pushed my own training over the last 2 years, I would say. I've done a High Rocks. We did a sub 60 High Rocks doubles. We won that for our age group in Sharjah, which is another emirate in the UAE. Done multiple half marathons. I ran a 1:23 half marathon. I ran a sub 3 marathon, 2:57 last year. So I think just being here and being around amazing coaches and amazing athletes as well, it's just forced me to level up, and it's helped me want more. And I think that's the summary of Dubai for me over the last 4 years, is wanting more, and not from an egotistical, materialistic standpoint, just wanting to progress in business, wanting to be a better athlete, wanting to look the part really for what I'm trying to preach. Like people pay a lot of money to work with me and to work with the team. Like I want them to feel like they're being coached by someone who fucking puts in the work themselves and practices what they preach, that whole cliche saying, because there's a lot of cowboys over here too. There's people that aren't who they try to be online, and I think that's me. My values is like trying to be true to myself, and yeah, practicing what I preach is the main thing for me, and providing a great service to clients. So we've got the iced Americano with an extra shot, because in Dubai they love to just give you coffee flavored water. So we've got to add another one in. The main focus now is to probably hold a relatively similar amount of client numbers, maybe grow it a little bit, but really just continue to improve the service and make sure that we're always delivering and getting great results for clients. Like we don't provide the same service and offer as a lot of the other coaches in Dubai will, in the sense that we don't do photo shoots. We're not getting men shredded, because it's not the people that I resonate with, and it's not the people that we attract. We work with busy, career-driven professionals that travel, that have families. They want to get lean, they want to get down to 12% body fat, but they're not looking to oil themselves up with fake tan and do a photo shoot. So it's a different offer, and we've done really well in America for some reason. We got quite a few organic inquiries from America, and we've just grown the business, obviously in the UAE and the UK, but primarily the US, which is amazing. I love working with people in the US. The clients are really, really driven. They're willing to invest in themselves, and they're usually super entrepreneurial and focused as well. Training focus for now, I mentioned we just did another video, sub 250 marathon, so trying to knock 7.5 minutes off my last marathon from 2025, which should be good. So I'm just about to start prep for that. Yes, it's summer in Dubai now, it's super hot, so I'm doing a lot of runs on the treadmill. And me and Liv just moved into that new place. We got a great deal because of everything that happened with the war, but we're fully settled down here now in the Creek. So I feel like for the first time in Dubai, I'm fully happy, I'm fully settled, and I'm looking forward to growing things here. We've only been back, I think, less than 3 weeks, and we had the best month we've ever had in business last month, and I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that's down to being in a really solid environment, a good routine, and being locked in, as people like to say. So going to enjoy this coffee, and we're going to plan some more videos for next week. But just to summarize, played rugby at school, went to university, did a bit of business stuff there with the club nights and the marketing. Then COVID threw me off, then I became a personal trainer, then I moved here, then we've grown the online business. Always trained throughout. I think that's the key thing, is consistency with training. No matter what's going on with life, that should be the constant, and I usually find that good nutrition stems from good training as well. So this was a bit of a different video for the channel, but it's more about following the journey, and that's something that I'm going to try and put across more on the channel as well. I mentioned in my last video that I've got 2 channels now. I've got one purely just for business, purely boring whiteboard value-based stuff, and this is more just lifestyle and documenting my journey, my personal brand. So see you in the next one.